Hello, Michael and everybody. Welcome to the Trail Runners Association of Hong Kong, China podcast. I'm Jenny Bucks. This is Michael Gay. How are you doing today, Michael?
I'm doing good. How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good, although I broke my toe at the weekend, as I've already told you, but hopefully it's only a minor little fracture.
Yeah. These little things can be quite annoying, and yeah, even though it's just a toe, I know someone else has fractured one recently, and it impacted their training for about 2 to 3 weeks. I think they couldn't really run on it or do certain things. How about you? What's the diagnosis?
Well, I only saw the doctor in the A&E so far, and he actually said, because he saw I was in running clothes, he actually said, "Oh, don't worry, you can still run. If it doesn't hurt, then you can run." I was like, "Really?" I mean, it really hurt to walk at that moment, and he said, "Yeah, you should be back in 1 or 2 weeks." So we'll see.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. At least it's not anything more serious than that.
Yeah, and it's a middle toe, which is one of the better ones. Like if you have the big toe, is obviously the worst, and the little toe is not good. So
yeah, I was impressed you found a way to fracture your middle toe. I think that's actually you can see stubbing the big or the little one, but the middle one, that's pretty good. Only to pick off the middle one, so that's some talent.
Yeah, I gave a rock a really good kick. It's amazing that it happened actually on a trail and not against furniture or on a road, which is where I normally hurt myself. I very rarely hit myself on an actual trail. So this episode we have Sandy Sun, who is quite a well-known runner, I think. And what did you know about her before this podcast?
Yeah, so I did 4 trails in 2023, and somebody told me that she had a slot as well, and to take a look at her training on Strava. So I connected to her on Strava, and I saw she was running basically 160 to 170 kilometers a week, and every week exactly the same. This big flat line in Strava for her, weekly runs, and so she's doing 100 miles a week. But then when I was looking, I saw that she was mainly doing road stuff and very little trails. So I kind of reached out to her on Strava, and then we connected on WhatsApp. And so we chatted a lot before 4 trails. And she hadn't had a ton of trail experience and nothing that long leading up to 4 trails. So I got to chat with her. I tried to give her some advice from my experience of doing these kind of multi-day races and so forth. And then we met at the beginning of 4 trails. And she was actually, I forget, and I was trying to think back. I think she was in 3rd place when she dropped at Lam 10 on the Wilson. So she'd done about 100 miles, and I think she was behind Tomo and Nugo that year. And I think she was 3rd overall. I know she was first female when she dropped, but she was way up there. She was doing very, very well. But then she, I think she'll talk about it, but then she didn't finish. But yeah. So, and then I've been following her since, and she's just an amazing runner. And I know she's dipping a little bit more into trail running and things like that. But yeah, very nice person, and yeah, incredible volume.
Yeah, and Hong Kong 4 Trails wasn't actually her first trail race. she did a 100k in Hong Kong 100, which was I think her first trail race, and she came 14th in the virtual Hong Kong 100 in 2021, which I think gave us some inkling of what was to come if she did that in her first trail race. But she has been primarily a marathon runner and has run sub 3 hours twice. And also had a baby, which she's going to talk about. And then she came 4th in the Hong Kong Trail Running Championships in May this year, which was really hot to be running 62 kilometers.
Yeah, which is an amazing result, right? And again, I think while she's had some great results, she's still, I would consider her still fairly new in the trail running space, especially racing. I think like actual type of racing such. So I think as time goes on, she's going to continue to be a name that's going to pop up on leaderboards and a name to watch. So I think it's great that you got her to agree to do an interview and hear a little bit more about her for people so that they can learn about her and start following her as she continues to improve in this space.
Yeah, and I should add that there is a 100-mile minimum requirement to get into Hong Kong for trails, and I think Sandy was made an exception to that because it was during the pandemic, and I guess it was short of entrance. But then also, I think that requirement for the 100 miles came in afterwards.
Yeah, and I think I think Andre can decide, and I know he's promoting getting more females in. So I think also being a female, strong trail runner, strong runner, I think was helpful for her as well.
I like the way she's kind of done the opposite of what Andre says that most women do, which is to wait a long time before they sign up. she jumped straight in,
Yeah,
which is good. It's good to see people throwing caution to the wind sometimes.
absolutely.
Yeah. So let's hear more from Sandy herself. Hello, Sandy, and welcome to the Trail Runners Association of Hong Kong and China podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Hi, Jenny. Very nice to be here today. Thanks for the invite.
You're welcome. So some people might know that you attempted 4 trails a few years ago, but before that you were also a very good marathon runner, I believe. I know you've done 2 sub 3 hour marathons, and you have finished the World Trail Majors. So what made you want to transition into trail running?
Yeah, I think for me, and I guess similar to a lot of other people, it was really just during the COVID period. There's no other options. All the marathon races were put on hold, and if you want to do anything, you can only go into the mountains. And so that's when I started to try the trail running bit.
I see that your first race was the Hong Kong 100 virtual race, and you did the full 100k. So you really jumped into trail running with both feet, it seems.
It wasn't very
you jumped in at the deep end doing 100k in your first trail race.
Yeah, I think I had a few friends who were already doing trail race at the time, and then we were originally gonna do the Trail Walker with the team of 4. But I think that year Trail Walker also moved into virtual or something, or it didn't happen. But they were like, yeah, why don't we just do Hong Kong 100 since the route is essentially the same. And so yeah, when they sign up, I just kind of sign up together with them without really thinking about what are the other options really.
And did you run it together, or did you do it at your own pace?
Well, we started together, but I think by maybe 20-30k in, we kind of had to run at our own paces. That's when I realized I was maybe a bit faster than the others, so I just went away.
And are you still doing some road races now that they're back on, or are you sticking to trails nowadays?
Actually, I think I do maybe on a kind of just simple count basis. I probably still do more road. I finished the major marathons. I finished London after COVID, and then I did maybe twice Hong Kong, and then a few marathon races in China as well. I think logistic wise, it's still easier to go out and do a 3-hour run instead of go out do a 13-hour run for the race.
Yeah, certainly. Do you think your road running speed helps you in trail races?
I think so. I think definitely having the road base, the speed, and the whole aerobic system kind of working for me is really great. I find that especially in Hong Kong, there are more pavement parts of the race. That's where I feel very comfortable and where I can take people. For me, trail racing, when it actually comes to the more technical bit, that gets me very nervous. I'm still kind of growing into or training myself up for the more technical races.
Yeah, well, you've still managed to do quite well in some trail races with technical things, such as I know you attempted the Hong Kong 4 trails in, was it 2023?
Yes.
And yeah, that has plenty of technical bits in. So you did a very fast Maclehose in 15:46, and then you managed to complete most of Wilson. So what did you learn from that experience? Will you try and learn from that experience by doing it again?
Yeah, well, that was a very interesting and rewarding experience. I really, as you said, I kind of jumped into trail and with both feet. So after like 1 or 2 virtual races, and then I found out about 4 trials without completing any real physical race or any kind of 100-mile distance, which I think was a prerequisite still for 4 trials. I just kind of went up to the race director and asked if I can, get a slot and try. And he kind of just encouraged me to submit my application, and I did so, and he admitted me in. So really going into the race, I knew it's going to be difficult, but I just didn't know how mentally challenging that will be. And also for my year, instead of starting at the regular time, I think in the morning, you kind of move it into the night, which when I was actually targeting for a finish time, I think that added one more night into the race. And mentally, it just felt very difficult. And I've never completed a whole overnight race before then. So by the time I got into the second night, I was just really exhausted, and all I wanted to do is to go back to my bed and sleep. So it was really without any too much physical discomfort. I think it was kind of just a mental breakdown, a mental weakness point that I dropped. So I guess what that told me, or what it kind of helped, was later on when I did the Translantal race, which was also a long distance one. I think I just kept telling myself, don't quit and just really stick it out until the end, even though the second half was very brutal for me. So I think just having that experience definitely helped, but I don't know if I will be able to do it again. I guess it's still some kind of unfinished business with the race, but as it gets more and more unpredictable as how the race is organized, and then with no GPS watch, I think that's a big factor. I for sure I'm one of those people who want all my runs, all my apps and all the data somewhere shown. Not being able to wear my watch throughout the race, it's a big concern in some ways.
Yeah. Well, you mean you would like to have a record afterwards, or you would like to see it during the race?
It's more about a record. I think more about the record. I think during the race it's fine, right? I don't necessarily need the GPS direction or need to know exactly at what pace I was running. It's so long, you kind of have a sense anyways, but it's really just the record and having it on Strava or whatever that I can look at it one day and say, this is what I did.
Well, I think there's plenty, if you manage to complete 4 trials, there'll be plenty of proof in lots of channels that you did it.
Yeah, I guess so.
It doesn't have to be on Strava.
You're probably right, but
Yeah.
I think when I was preparing for 4 trials, it was COVID and I was single and didn't have a child, so I had essentially spent all my Sundays in the mountains just repeating on those sections again and again. But I think nowadays I don't have the luxury of time really. So it's maybe we'll see, maybe in a few years if once my kid gets older and I have more time, maybe I'll consider.
Yeah, that is a big barrier to entry for many mothers and some fathers as well, right? So yeah, congratulations on your baby. It sounds like you bounced back very quickly into running afterwards. Did you took about 2 weeks off running and then went back to, high mileage very quickly, and then you won the Victoria 50 race when your child was 3 months old, which is amazing. So do you have any tips for other women on running through pregnancy and afterwards?
Yeah, I think for me, I was really lucky that my first trimester or almost throughout my pregnancy, I didn't have much discomfort or any of the like vomiting or anything. And also, I did a very solid base before going into the pregnancy. So I was kind of running every day for probably like a year and a half or even longer. So I think my body was very used to it. So when the baby came at first, I just helped myself kind of, life goes on, everything is normal. And I asked my doctor was saying, if a yoga instructor got pregnant, is she gonna stop teaching? So I was like, yeah, maybe, that's the kind of mentality to have. When I was running to the extent I felt comfortable, and it turns out my body was able to take even a bit more than what I expected. I thought I would really cut into the final trimester, but I didn't. And I think I was running on the day that we went into the hospital, right? So I was able to run all the way through. I think one, that I had my family's support, that they were supportive as long as, you're cautious about it, as long as your body feels okay, and we do our regular pregnancy checkups. And there was no issue, so I got that part cleared. And yeah, I think it's really just about listening to your own body. I think I have friends who are runners, but they had very severe reaction even just at the start of the pregnancy. So you kind of have to take a break. But again, once the baby is out, once they're ready, they're still able to kind of get back into running very quickly and get the speed back. So I think whether taking a long break or a short break or any break, it's really up to the individual. It shouldn't. I don't think there's a standard per se as to what running through pregnancy should look like. Looking back, I guess I wouldn't recommend my approach to anyone because it's a very personal experience.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can't really recommend anything, but did you do anything in particular to get back in shape afterwards? Like, did you do a lot of work on your core strength, for instance? Because I've heard that's usually quite important after carrying a child. Really, kind of beats you up from the inside.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I have a regular physio that I go see him every week. So he knows my body very well, my reactions to things. And he told me because of the pregnancy, I would have a split on my abs muscles. I don't know what that's exactly called, but I think he essentially told me don't run until that kind of heals back. And so right after pregnancy, I did a lot of Pilates kind of exercise, core focus, just to get the muscle strength back and then get the abs kind of merging back together. And once that was okay, then I started running. And also it was really after pregnancy, we went back to China so someone was helping kind of taking care of the baby, and my husband is a runner. So whether or not I run, he goes out running every day. So just when he's out, I'm like very jealous. I really wanted to run with him. So one day I just couldn't wait. I was like, okay, fine, I'll go out. Let me try running. That's how I went back. It's also faster than I expected.
Wow, yeah, it's amazing. So I've got a question from Michael. You remember Michael Gay? He was also doing the 4 trails, I think the same year as you. And he asked a question about your mileage, because you have consistently very high mileage, often 200 kilometers a week, or at least 170 kilometers a week. So do you have a philosophy behind why so much mileage? Like, is it an idea from your coach, or do you not have a coach? Or
I think for me, when I started running before COVID, I was probably taking 1 or 2 days off. And then during COVID, there was really not that much to do. I kind of find running being a very good relaxation, or just having the time to myself and being out there, breath, and like letting things go through my mind. That time to myself during COVID really helped. So I kind of get into the habit of running every day. And also back then, somehow I find my body very used to running every day. If I take a day off, the day after I will find restarting extremely difficult. I find my muscle all like very stiff and all that. So that's kind of where I developed the habit of kind of daily runs, but not to a mileage goal. And then I think it was probably during pregnancy kind of I started hitting a more constant mileage. I think at first probably 100, sometimes it got to 150. And then after pregnancy, because I had almost 6 months of maternity leave, so that time again I had a lot of free time. So I went out running more, and 170 kind of just became the sweet spot that I felt my body can handle. It just in general felt good. So now I try to keep up to that. It's kind of like every week I have a goal that I want to hit 170. So every day I wake up knowing today is probably going to be another 30K or something. I just try to fit it into my schedule, because for me, I just kind of take it freestyle. It's a bit difficult. I just find it easier if I have a goal that I need to hit. So yeah, maybe that's just how I am.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that to do 170, obviously you're having to do long runs every day as well. So that must take quite a lot of time. Like, how do you find the time when you're a working mum doing? I know you're traveling with your job as well.
Yeah, I think for me, if I'm in Hong Kong, then I sometimes wake up early, like 5 or something, to do the run, to do like 15K first. And then I will spend the morning like 2 hours with baby before work, and then I go to work. And then the second run of the day will normally be lunchtime. I will try to run from office back home or somewhere around home to make up the distance. And if that becomes impossible due to work schedule, I might do a run after work. So really just splitting the run into two, make the distance and loading a bit more manageable. And actually, if I'm traveling, sometimes make things even slightly easier, because I don't need to allocate time for baby. So, the 7 to 9 a.m. slot, which I would normally spend with my son, that becomes my running time. So I actually get to even sleep a bit more and then complete my run as well. So again, it's always about finding time, and I think I'm lucky that my job is slightly flexible in the sense I have client calls and client meetings, so sometimes I don't have to be in the office all the time or for a fixed schedule, so it's also about managing the schedule in that sense.
Yeah, that's great. It's also good to hear that you enjoy it so much, and you seem to get a lot out of it rather than feeling that you have to every day. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think generally I just feel better if I've done my run. But now, especially this year, in the past few months, instead of running every day, sometimes because we have helper, right? But our helper takes leaves on Sunday. So in the past, I would wake up really early in the morning, complete my run, and then spend the whole day taking care of baby, which is very, very exhausting. But now, at some point, I think maybe there was just 1 week where I completed the 170 distance before the Sunday. So I was like, this Sunday I'm just gonna sleep in and then do my baby duty. And the day turned out to be a lot more enjoyable and doable. So now, if I know that my Sunday will be about the baby, I'll try to front load my runs so that I can kind of complete the distance goal by Saturday, and then Sunday I'll take a rest day and just enjoy family time. So it's also maybe about just kind of changing and adjusting to different circumstances as we go. So I guess running every day, having that like 365 check mark is no longer a goal for me. It used to be a very important thing.
Yeah, priorities are always changing when you have children.
Yeah.
So your most recent race, or at least trail race, was the Hong Kong Trail Running Championships in May. So how did you find that race, and how do you feel about your performance? Where you came in fourth, right?
Yes, I came fourth, which is kind of, in a way, it's great to be on the podium because they took top 5. But then the selection for World Trail was top 3 as it turned out. So when I find out about that, it was a bit of a shocker. So I think, to me, honestly, the race didn't start as good as I expected. I think going into the race, me and my coach, we thought they might just probably take the first female for the world trial. So I was really trying really hard from the start to kind of clinch to the top spot. And when that appeared to be difficult, I think very early on I had the thoughts of dropping off and all that, knowing that I won't be able to be the first one. And also I'm not very used to using poles while running, and then I had problem unfolding my poles to put it back when there was a downhill. So that got me really frustrated. Even before CP1, I was messaging my husband. I'm like, I'm so done. I don't want to do this race. But then he kind of he was just encouraging me throughout. He's like, you just stick it out and run a bit more. So I think, it really, the first half was quite difficult, and then the second half, because I know later on in the race there is quite a bit of flat road running. Knowing I was getting closer and closer to that helped with my own confidence. And then indeed on the flat road or around the flat bits, I caught up with a couple people, and so I was forced maybe like 20k left in the race, and then at one point I caught up to the third girl who was really close, but it was a technical bit, and then she saw me and then she kind of rushed away, and I knew I don't have a chance catching her on those parts, so I kind of just let it go. So again, I think it wasn't a very easy race for me, but the result, in all fairness, I think it probably reflects where I am in terms of the overall trail racing community in Hong Kong among the girls with the locals. But I think it also just shows that I have a lot to improve, to work on. I cannot always rely on my road running pace alone to compete in trail.
Yeah, so have you had any more practice with poles since then? Because I know you're heading next week to UTMB, where I imagine you're going to want to use poles.
Yes, well, I did. I really pushed myself to use poles, and whenever I have them out, I have to say it just kind of mess up with my whole rhythm. I find myself to be slower with poles going uphill. So I think for me it's still a work in progress, but I'm definitely better than where I was 3 months ago. So let's see how that goes. I think for me the issue with poles, as soon as I start using them, it's just mentally that having to use both my legs and my hands to go up make me feel very tired. So I understand it's really about practicing, and I just need more time to do it.
Yeah, hopefully it will take some pressure off your legs at least, because if your legs give slightly less effort on the climbs, hopefully they'll be less tired by the end.
Yeah, that's the theory behind it. Because for me, for this entire training cycle, I didn't have time to do any long runs, so I end up using pole for like a 4 hours run on trail. My legs are not tired enough yet, so that the hand bit just becomes it doesn't. I don't feel the benefit as much, but I totally understand that in longer distance it will help. So you just need to kind of practice and get used to it.
So, do you have any goals going into UTMB next week?
Well,
or are you just going to see how it goes?
Yeah, I think for me, because I've never raced outside of Hong Kong, so it's really, I know people say the terrain is very different, but I have no idea how it will look like, and I won't have time to really go and run on those terrains because I only arrive like 1 day or 2 days before the race. So my coach gave me a time. He said you should try 30 hours, and so I'm like, okay, but I still have no idea what that means. So I've seen online some people posting the kind of time splits by checkpoint. That's probably the most I have for now. It's very hard for me to visualize how the race will be. So I think for me it's really just to go out there and try to finish. time, I think at this moment it's less of a concern, and maybe we'll know more after I finish. Happy to talk again.
Yeah, well, I suppose you can't really have a ranking target because you can't control what the other women are doing, right? So you just need to do your best.
I think, I mean, it's way too competitive of a race, and I'm very realistic about my trail running capabilities. So I think for me, looking at the past times, if we take 30 hours, it's probably, I think, overall top 30, but not top 20. So we'll see. And I think to this point, for me, I still find racing against myself easier than racing against others. And that's the difficulty I experienced at the Hong Kong Trail Championship, right? When I was really trying to keep up with others and compete for ranking instead of compete for time. So I think personally, going into UTMB, I just want to kind of run a good race for myself without looking at what others are doing.
Sounds very sensible. Well, I don't know very much about the UTMB course, except for I know they have a very long descent. I don't know what stage of the race is, but it's like a 20 kilometers downhill, runnable downhill rather than technical. So I think you'll probably enjoy that bit, right?
Hopefully. See, I don't even know that fact, so I'm really not so well prepared about it. Let's see. But yeah, I think from what I hear, the European trail terrain is a bit runnable, both up and downs. And I mean, it's a very beautiful course. Everyone says that, so I look forward to enjoy it.
Yeah, and at least going into it, you know the what the target is. I mean, to do the best you can. Whereas the trail championships, you didn't know whether the goal was finishing first or third or fifth. So it's good to have some kind of fixed targets, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think for the trail championship in Hong Kong, it was very hard, and to be honest, when I was running on the course, just bit by bit, my total time add up was like more than 11 or 11 and a half. So I was like, okay, I don't think I can finish within the cutoff. Yeah, but I think on the race day, it was a cooler day, so that was easier. Again, every race is different. For this one, there's a rough time target, and I think I'll just go in and try to enjoy the race as much as I can.
Yeah, good. Yeah, the time cutoff was very tight for the trail championships, especially for the women. You know, they had the same cutoff for the women and the men. And so, yeah, it was great to see so many strong Hong Kong runners that were able to finish under the cutoff even in those conditions.
Yeah.
So do you have any other goals in the next few years that you'd like to share? Since you've already completed the World Marathon Majors, have you thought about starting on the World Trail Majors? They have 12 races.
Yeah, not yet. I think it's probably more wait and see. One thing recently caught attention was, of course, Western State. Everyone talks about it. It seems to be a very cool race. And then hopefully maybe I'll try to race a bit in China. Trail racing is getting so popular, so I do want to experience the China running community in that sense. I think trail-wise, maybe these two, and then actually for road marathon, I probably want to, if time allows, I would want to try a better time within the, faster than just sub 3. I would feel like my speed, I still have some potentials to improve my marathon time. Neither of the sub 3 races was a goal race for me when I run them. So I think with more proper preparation and tapering and all that, and on a good day and good course, hopefully I can have a better time.
Yeah, and you did you start doing marathon running in like 2019 or something? So you didn't actually spend that many years preparing for the last marathons that you did. It's only a few years, really, right?
I got into running, I think probably in 19. My first race was the Hong Kong Standard Chartered Marathon, but a half marathon. And then after that, I discovered the World Major. So I was like, okay, I want to do marathon distance. I want to complete all the 6 races. So I think even for running, I got in quickly and just did the marathon distance very early on. And I find it's interesting because, to be honest, in Hong Kong, for any race, you would have to wake up very early because it's so hot. Every race starts at like 6 or something. And for me, I'm lazy. I want to wake up at 5 or 4 and go to a rather remote place and run a 10K like in less than an hour and then done with it. So I would rather maybe do a marathon, run longer for the effort.
Yeah, it is a very early wake up for most of the races in Hong Kong, especially if it's only 5 or 10K.
Yeah, and I think early on when I just started running, I signed up for so many and I didn't show up for like almost all of them.
But you're used to getting up early, right? Because you have a baby and you're trying to run before your baby gets up, so that's already quite early.
Yeah, I think now my schedule changed a bit and this is fine. Yeah, for short distance, I don't know, maybe not my thing. I think marathon, half marathon, and then trail are probably more suitable for me.
Yeah, well, you've done very well in marathons and ultra marathons so far, and I look forward to seeing what's next for you. And thanks a lot for your time. I know you're a very busy person, so I won't keep you much longer. So good luck for your race next week.
Sure. Well, thanks a lot. Again, very big honor to be speaking with you, and let's keep in touch. Thanks for having me.
So we're back. So Michael, what did you think of what Sandy had to say?
Amazing, 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 amazing. I mean, I think the two things that jumped out at me initially was I didn't realize, and I think we talked before briefly, but I didn't realize you could be running up until the day you give birth and doing the volume she was doing up until that time. For whatever reason, I didn't think women would be doing that type of volume up until that late into pregnancy. So that was amazing.
Esther Chillag did similar, I think. Maybe not the consistent 170. Actually, no, she only did 100 a week. I mean, Sandy, when she was pregnant rather than 170. But
still.
Yeah. And Esther Chillag was still going out doing very long runs when she was pregnant as well.
Which, again, it's amazing. And then just her commitment to getting the training done every single day, especially now with a kid and a married and a job, and just every day it's hard to get the time in and just be so consistent over and over again. I didn't quite grab how she stays so motivated and stays so there's some secret sauce in her, and I guess it's just DNA type of thing. I was looking for something that I could grab and somehow steal on what she does, if it's a certain drink she's drinking or maybe a TV show she's watching that motivates. I don't know, but it's just amazing to see. And again, I follow her on Strava, so I see her every day putting in the miles, and it's so impressive.
Yeah, and she's had an amazingly fast progression as a runner as well, because she started running in 2019 and then did sub 3 hour marathon in 2023. So that's only 4 years to getting sub 3 hours. And she did her first ultra in 2021 and then attempted the 4 trails in 2023 and finished 100 miles of it. It's nuts, really.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I mean, obviously she's having some amazing results, but you can tell from her comments she's still very new into kind of learning around how to race. Running a marathon is pretty straightforward, right? You go as fast as you can for 42K, and and you train for it, and you get the result. But when you're racing like 4 trails or even UTMB, which she's doing this coming weekend, and some of the other things, there's so much more into it. Like you were talking about, she's still new in poles and getting confidence with poles and how to do overnights and the mental stuff of running multi-nights and when to sleep and when to rest, and even how to, if you're not in first place, how do you chase down first place, or should you try to go to the front of the pack or lay back, and what's the strategy? She seems to still be learning a little bit about that stuff and still having these amazing results. I'm really looking forward to see how she does this weekend in UTMB. I predicted, I think, in our chat, top 30 female is my prediction, but she could maybe also blow up. Who knows? But she's got the skills and the talent to really be one of the best female trail runners, I think, in Hong Kong. And so it'll be exciting to see her progression if she stays motivated enough to stay on the trails.
Yeah. I heard somebody else predict top 30 for her, but we don't want to put any additional pressure or expectations on her if she's listening to this before the event. I don't know if I'll finish the editing before then. But did I ever tell you about my experience of trying to run during pregnancy?
No, I don't think I heard this.
So I found out that I was pregnant a few days before I was doing a half marathon in Macau. It was a trail half marathon, and I'd done the same race the year before, but I tripped before the start of the race and hurt my knee even before starting, and then had to limp a half marathon on one leg, which didn't do my budding running career any good, because then I had major problems on the leg that had hopped a half marathon. And it took me a whole year to rehab that knee and get back into running. Then I found out I was pregnant, and I'd done so well in my training. I really wanted to do the race. So I looked up and did a lot of research online, whether it was safe. I should have seen a doctor really, but consulted Dr. Google instead, and found out that if you don't have any complications, then it should be okay, so long as you're used to running and you're not doing something new, and so long as you do it at a little bit less intensity than you're doing before. So yeah, I did the race, less intensity, so I wasn't chasing any time goal, but still did faster than the one that I'd hopped the year before. So I was pleased about that. And there was very little information about running and pregnancy back then. But then the problem I had, this was April, and my baby was a December baby like Sandy's. And so I ended up getting heavily pregnant during Hong Kong summer. And I'm just an average runner, not a world-class runner like Sandy. So when I started running a bit slower than normal and Hong Kong summer came, then I was walking, my running pace is not sufficiently above walking pace that I can slow down and still be running. So if you want to run in Hong Kong summer when you're pregnant, you need to be like a world-class runner before you get pregnant. Here's the message that I got.
Yeah. Again, we run a lot, and I rarely see anyone clearly showing pregnant running. That's why I was kind of so surprised. Up to the delivery, the day before the delivery or the delivery day, still out there doing it. I think it would be shocking to see her out there running 9 months pregnant.
There is a lot more evidence now that it is in most cases safe. Obviously, some women have complications, or sometimes even have to be on bed rest, and obviously those women can't run. And it's not a time to take up running if you're not already a runner.
Right. Right.
But some evidence, apparently, my daughter tells me, the one who's just completed a semi-medical degree, she said there's some evidence that it's actually beneficial for baby, and that it makes it more likely that they'll become an athlete in later life because they develop more muscle in utero or something. But there's more research that needs to be done in that area, and it's very difficult to do research because controlled trials are not allowed on babies.
So 20 years, we'll see if Sandy's son is a world-class runner or not. I guess you got good genes with her husband. Her husband's a runner. She's a runner.
Yeah, well, of course, the genetic thing will come into it, and also being raised into a family of runners will help as well. But they must have done trials with surrogates or something where they've been able to separate what's happened to the baby in utero from what's from their parents, and how they're raised. So it'll be interesting to see more research in that area, and it's great that there's a lot more information around it than there was 20 years ago when I was first pregnant. Yeah,
I'm sure it continues. Yeah, I was just that really surprised me a bit. So it just shows again her dedication and commitment and I guess love maybe for running, that that she's kept at it at such a huge volume, and then quickly, as she was saying, like a week or two after, she's already running again as well.
Yeah.
It's talking about her abs and things like that. Again, things I hadn't even thought about. And it was interesting how much she actually understood that and researched it and knew when to start running and looking for the signs for it. And so yeah, that love for running she has is really really world class.
Yeah, she does have good professionals looking after her. I don't know who her physio is, but I know Erwan from Joint Dynamics is her coach, and I'm sure that if he was, I don't know if he was coaching her back then, but if he was, I'm sure that he's had the benefit of experience with other athletes as well as to how they can get back into it afterwards. And another thing she raised was a concern about four trails was not being able to use tracking devices. And I actually messaged Andre about that and said, are there any tracking devices like Stride or whatever which are allowed? And he said yes, the things like Stride, Oura Ring, and I forget the other one. Things like that are still allowed, and people can still download. You can apparently get a GPX file from the tracker during the race, like it tracks how fast you're moving. At least, obviously, you can't get your heart rate and things like that.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to get it, right? So I think that's if people are concerned about not. I was actually a little disappointed. When I was listening to her talk, and she says, "Well, I can't put it on Strava." I was like, "Sandy, no, please, that can't be the reason. Don't be like that. It's the love of the challenge, right? It's not the social media aspect of it, please." But it is a massive effort, and it would be good to get a few thumbs up and some nice comments about your effort if you do it and complete it. Yeah, obviously, if I do it again, I would look like that as well. So, yeah, that's good to know that you can download the GPX from the tracker. And I think that's probably the best way. It's easy to upload that into Strava, and there you go.
Yeah, and of course there'll be lots of evidence on social media that she did it. I mean, the number of photographers and members of the public
That's
will
true.
be out there taking your photo. It's not
Very
going to
true.
go unnoticed by the trail running world.
Very true. Very true.
And so when Sandy's kids in college and she has plenty of time, then she's got no excuses.
I think she'll be out there sooner.
Yeah, hopefully a bit
Yeah,
younger
yeah.
than college.
Yeah.
And so she says she got into marathon running because she was too lazy to do shorter races. Right? Does
That's
she
what
sound
I mean.
lazy to you?
No, that's what I mean. She's got some different DNA that I just don't understand, right? Like how her and again, her performance is amazing. So I'm trying to tap into it a little bit on how that works with her and stuff. But yeah, yeah, some of the things just seems the opposite of how you would think of picking up running or doing these things and so forth. Yeah, so she's amazing.
So how long does a race need to be for you to get out of bed to travel to the other side of Hong Kong for?
Yeah, I mean, well, I used to would travel for a 5K or a 10K, like a long time ago.
I mean,
But
nowadays.
yeah. Even that, if it's a fun race, and you're trying to support it, or you know who the organizer is, or you think it's for charity or something like that, I don't think it matters. If it's just to run a fast 5K, I probably wouldn't be too much signing up into things like that, even doing them locally. But yeah, I mean, I think for me to be motivated and such at this point, it's probably at least 20K. You'd want to be out there doing on the trails and such. But yeah, there's a lot of great race organizers out there, and you're trying to support these races and things like that, then it's travel's not as important. How about you?
Yeah. Well, the thing I find with a shorter race is that you still need to have a bit of taper and a bit of recovery afterwards. And so if you're trying to train for ultra marathon, then it's pretty hard to fit in the mileage during that week. There was one week last year where I did one of Bethco's time trials on a Friday night. I did the 5K, but I did the 10K as well on a different day. But after the 5K, I think it was, then the next day my training program had a 20K run. And then on the Sunday, I did the King of the Hills 20K as well. So my legs were really tired for that race. Obviously, it wasn't my best. That was a training race, essentially. But it was a real slog. And I still did less mileage than I did on adjacent weekends because of not being able to do such a long run on the weekend, because I did the 5K on the Friday. I could see that kind of thing denting Sandy's nice 170 plateau.
If you go all out on a road run, even, I mean, I haven't tried it 5K, but like if I go all out in a marathon, it takes me a good week or so to recover. I can do a 100K trail race and I'm running 2 days later and feeling okay, you know? And even an Ironman, like I've done Ironman, and you're not running the marathon at the same pace as you're just going full out on the marathon. And again, the next day I'm ready for a run after an Ironman. So like the recovery time from a hard run on road is, it takes for me at least, it's much longer than a slower, longer time and distance run for me, because that impact on the legs is just so massive.
Yeah. I think doing a shorter race is kind of nice if you're doing a taper for a longer race than to do something just to sharpen up the legs and have a bit of speed and then have a couple of rest days afterwards. Can be kind of nice.
Yeah, as long as you're not going all out. I think the all out part is the part that really can knock you over a little bit.
Yeah. And she also mentioned about poles. Like, how important do you think it is to learn poles? Some people don't use them at all, of course, and you won't be allowed to use them in 4 trails.
Yeah, I don't train with them because 4 trails is my primary objective over time. So I try to get comfortable without them. But obviously they make a big difference, especially I think in steeper races like UTMB, where it has massive climbs, you know, like I was seeing TDS, which is going on right now, has a 2,400 meter climb that's over 12K, right? So it's like basically, it's crazy, right? And so just doing that, no poles and just putting it all on the legs is big. And even the descents, some steep descents, they can be quite helpful as well. So I think, it depends. It's a good thing to understand how to use and the benefits of it, and obviously knowing when and you can use them the whole race. Obviously, you can run on flats and everything, but when's the best time to use them and things. So obviously, I think you see all the pros using it, so they're very helpful. Important to understand how to use them properly.
Yeah, I actually had some messages with Sandy after our interview or chat to ask if she wanted some advice about poles, because I use poles a lot. And first thing I said was to not stress about it, because the race is long enough that she can kind of learn on the job, you know, from watching other runners, especially if they go past her, you know, as to what they're doing differently to her. And also because UTMB has got such long climbs and long descents, she'll need to worry about the time spent folding and unfolding, because obviously in Hong Kong there's a lot of, you know, shorter climbs and descents, then it's more of an issue. But also I said that going forward she might want to learn how to use the poles downhill, then she doesn't have to fold them up.
Yeah.
And like
if you have one of those quivers, or even the naked belt has a little loops in the back, they're actually really simple to, while you run, put them in and out. So again, I think part of that's experience, right? Just learning how to do that on the run. You know, I find it easier to put my poles away than to eat a gel when I'm running, you know, because it's pretty straightforward to just they fold quickly, put them in the back of your naked belt, and then, you know, and you're while you're running, it's and you can still kind of keep the same movements and stuff. So I think it's just experience.
Yeah, it does take practice, because if you want to fold them away, I mean, I've done that training sometimes where I've thought, right, I'm going out on this short run just to practice taking poles out and folding them away. So I fold them up when I didn't need to, just because I want to practice folding.
Yeah.
So how's your training been going over the summer?
Pretty good. Trying to be very consistent. Luckily, knock on wood, if you can hear it, no major injuries at the moment. 54, so there's daily soreness and challenges, but nothing that's preventing me from getting out every day. I think we talked a little bit about trying this challenge where I ran the 4 trails course over 12 days. So I was able to complete that over 12 days, which was a very... And doing it with 4 trails rules, so not using a watch. I did have my watch on recording it, but no alerts, and it was on time the whole time, so I couldn't see the pace or what my splits were, or my heart rate. None of that information I could see, and no headphones, no poles, all the stuff. And doing the course, I made a few mistakes, but I realized them really quickly, and never had to use the GPX, which was good. And doing it in the summer, obviously there's challenges with the heat, but 12 days is a lot easier than trying to do it in 4 days or even 7, 8 days. So it was good. Yeah, it was good to get it done, and I felt good at the end and was able to run strong on day 12, which was a good thing as well.
Are you still planning to do it again in 7 days?
I'm going to do 10 days starting at night every day in October, probably mid-October. So start at 7 p.m. every day. And instead of 12 days, I'll do it in 10. So basically the MAC I did in 4 days. In this last one, I'll do it in 3. And Lantau Trail I did in 3 days. I'll do it in 2. Hong Kong Trail still 2 days. Wilson still 3 days. But yeah, and to start at 7 p.m. every night. So make sure you know the course at night, and also, checking out headlamps and making sure headlamps that I'm planning to use is working well and I feel comfortable with it. And battery life of the headlamps is important too. So you make sure you carry not unnecessary spare batteries, but obviously enough just in case something happens. And so just understanding all those dynamics and knowing the course obviously at night, and try to stay locked in with it. So yeah, we'll be doing that in October.
Great, yeah. October is still quite warm, so I think you're doing the right thing to go for 10 days rather than 7.
Yeah, obviously I'm trying to keep up the training as well, right? So like even after I did the 12 days, I was hiking to Tiger's Head the next day. So I was doing hikes the next day after 12. So legs felt like I could continue training. I didn't want to bury myself too much. So yeah, for these efforts, I want to just be kind of a big training block. How about yourself?
Well, I finished a 100k race in August in Poland. That was quite an experience. I was concerned about the cutoffs. I mean, I'm sure you've seen my report on Strava, but I was right to be concerned about cutoffs. For some reason, I thought it was going to be a runnable race, and that was because the cutoffs were so tight. I thought, well, it has to be a fast course, otherwise they wouldn't have such tight cutoffs. Actually, I think the cutoffs were so tight because of Poland being less developed as a trail running nation or territory than Hong Kong. I think it's getting more popular now, but I think compared with Hong Kong, it's more of a thing that only advanced runners do, or mainly advanced runners. Whereas in Hong Kong, anybody who can finish 50k can try 100k, or any average runner who does a decent amount of training can finish 100k. Like I've done 4 times in Hong Kong. But yeah, so like if you go into Decathlon in Poland, they have hardly any trail running stuff. Like I couldn't see any trail running backpacks or soft flasks or anything. They had lots of hiking stuff, fishing stuff, mountaineering things, but not very much trail running. So yeah, I think. But it is changing because they're having to extend the cutoffs every year, and they actually extended the cutoffs during the race, which was good because I was able to finish, but it made the race a bit of a roller coaster because I kept thinking I was getting cut off, and then I'm thinking, oh, I'm definitely not going to make it. I've only got an hour to cut off, and I've still got 10k to go, and then feeling a bit dejected, and then thinking, well, I'm just gonna run as fast as I can down this hill for fun because it's the end of the race for me. And then getting there and being told I could continue, it was that happened twice. And I was even trying to plot a route. The first time that happened, I was thinking, well, I'm just going to run back to the start area, like to make a shortcut in the loop, so that I'll have done about 80k altogether. And I was thinking about which way I was going to go, and they said, "Oh, no, you're okay. You can continue." I was like, "Oh, okay. Oh, I'm just going to sit down for a bit first." And kind of jolly myself up again. And the second time it happened, Becky and Simon were there, my daughter and husband, and they expected I'd be so delighted to hear that I was being allowed to continue. But I was like, oh, fuck. It's like, really? I was really ready to go home by then. That was at 84k. But apart from that roller coasterness, it was a really good experience. Like, it was scenic, and the food was amazing, and the volunteers were amazing. I got to know the sweepers quite well because I was overtaking people, but the people I overtook were dropping out. So then the me and the sweeper would catch up with somebody, and then he would slow down to stay with the person that I overtook. And then an hour later, the sweeper caught me up again. I was like, what happened? He said, oh, the other guy dropped out. I was like, I'm last again. Although I did finish ahead of, I think, 8 people by the end.
Nice. Well, I think
That's
that's
all
an
the people
important
that
lesson.
dropped out.
I think it's an important lesson, right? Like, don't stop until they pull you off the course, right? Like you never know what's in front of you. You never know what's going to happen, and maybe the race extends time. I've seen races extend cutoff times before as well, due to hotter weather than normal. Maybe an aid station runs out of supplies, and they try to give more time. So there's always, not always, but there's instances of things like that happening. So I think just having that mentality of, look, I'm just going to keep going until they tell me I can't go or they pull me off the course. I'm just going to keep going, and having that kind of mentality of who cares what the cutoff time is, or what, I'm going to miss this, I'm going to miss that, and just continue going the best you can until they tell you can't go anymore.
Yep. That's what I did. The finish of the race there had this most horrendous hill, and they had a last minute course change. So I'd studied the map, and I realized that there was a few Ks on road for the last few Ks. So I got to 100K on my watch, and I got to a road. I was like, yes, this is the downhill bit. And I texted my family to say, I'm on the road, I'll be there soon. And then they changed the course, which had made it to the GPX file, so it was on my watch, but it hadn't made it to the Google file, which I'd used to mark up a map that I gave to my family so they would know whereabouts I was. Then, so I started going uphill again. I was like, I'll get my poles out again. And then this hill just kept going on, and it was a rocky, steep hill, kept going on. And there was this huge crucifix at the top of the hill that was illuminated. This was 2:00 in the morning. And then I was like, oh, that crucifix must have a nice road to the finish from there, because it's such a spectacular monument. But no, it was like a technical trail exactly the same as the one I'd gone up. And then there was a river crossing, and we had to climb up, use ropes to climb up the steep bank. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And then I could see the finish line. I could see my family there cheering me, and they were behind the fence. And I was like, how do I get around this fucking fence?
It's cruel.
But yeah, it was good fun, although a lot of it was type 2 fun, I have to admit.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you need a little bit of that.
And also, it's given me a great appreciation of Hong Kong trails. Well, firstly, how accessible trail running is in Hong Kong, because you've got all these trails really close to the city, which means lots of people can try it, and how generous the cutoffs are for most races in Hong Kong. And also the trails, we complain about the stairs and all the concrete, but given the amount of rainfall we have and the heavy rainfall here, then it keeps the trails in quite good condition for the most part. Whereas in Poland, I think the heavy rain, they've had heavy rain, and there was heavy rain during my race. They have dealt with having some very slippery, muddy trails by just dumping a load of rubble onto the trails that hasn't yet compacted, which is really hard to run down because you just got all these loose rocks, which you don't know where to put your feet when you're trying to run downhill. So I think trails are a lot more developed here in that sense. You've got big slabs that are not going to move.
Right. Yeah, there's still some slippery stuff here, but it just sounds like that's much more extreme. Yeah, and I know there's some races like in Indonesia and other countries where I've heard people say, I'm like practically, or some are like 2 steps up, 1 step back, 2 steps up, 1 step back, as you're sliding a lot on the very loose surfaces or falling on the way down and things like that. So yeah, we're lucky, definitely for sure here, but it's good to experience those other types of terrains and trails and countries. That's half the fun as well.
Yeah, although it's a bit disconcerting kind of being in the middle of nowhere, not speaking the language. And people in Poland generally speak very good English, but in the rural areas, not so much. Like in the cities like Krakow, then a lot of people speak better English than us, but not so much in the countryside. And so I felt and turning up to a race where you don't know anybody, I realised that part of what I love about going to races is seeing all these people I know at races, and feeling like being part of the community. Whetted my appetite for getting back into doing some races.
Okay, what's next?
Well, I've entered Moon Trekker and Hong Kong 100.
Nice.
Which is part of my master plan to do a longer distance of the Hong Kong 100 every year. So I'm going to be working towards that.
Nice.
And maybe some other races in between.
Nice.
And are you doing any races besides trying to do 4 trails?
Yeah, just hoping to get in 4 trails and just focusing on that for now. I got some stuff planned for next year, but after February. But that's not thinking about that quite yet.
How many weeks of rest are you going to give yourself?
I'm actually signed up for a 300-mile race in Arizona in the U.S. It's actually 310 miles. So it's a 500K race in Arizona 6 weeks after 4 trails. So if I do get in, then I got to do a quick recovery. But I think I kind of figure, you'll be in shape at that point. So, in the 500K, you have 7 days to finish it. It's not a stage race. It's continuous, but you almost have to treat it like a stage race of doing like maybe 70K a day and sleeping a lot and eating a lot and treating it more as just a long journey versus a race. So we'll see. It should be okay.
A recovery journey.
Recovery 500K, yeah. Normal.
Yeah.
That's what we all do.
Yeah. All right, Michael, it's great to catch up with you. I hope to see you in trails in person. Well, I did see you last week or the week before on Tiger's Head, right?
Yeah.
Although you were far ahead. I saw you at the top for a high five at the top.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll say goodbye now. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Good talking.
See you soon.
Always. Okay, bye.
Bye.